Very good. Let us begin with a prayer. This is on page 204. The second one on that page. In this book, Universal Prayers. Okay, see Holy Mother. Page 204, Universal Prayer, the second one. Om Pitatvam Matatvam Daitatanayastvam Priyasuhrit Tamevatvam Mitram Gururasigatischa Sijagatam Tadiyastvad Tava Parijanas Tadgatiraham Prapannaschaivam Satyam Ahamapi Tavevasmi Ibaraha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This prayer says, all of my possessions, all my relationships and myself, they all your own belongs to you. You are my ultimate refuge. O Lord, you are the father, mother, husband and son. You are the dear friend, relative and teacher, and the goal of the universe. I am thine own, thy servant and attendant. You are my only refuge. I have taken shelter in you, and verily, O Lord, does my burden rest wholly on you. This is total Sharanagati. This is what Sri Ramakrishna calls giving power of attorney to God. Everything belongs to God, myself, what happens to me, and all the people who come into my life in various relationships, spouse, children, parents, co-workers, friends, whoever comes, they're all He alone coming in that form to play their part in my life. Some good, some bad. It's like a drama. All the characters are not good. There are villains also, bad characters also in a drama. This is Lord's play. So we have to go through all the experiences, good and bad, according to our karma. And His grace makes it possible to bear all the difficulties well, remembering the Lord all the time. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us continue with the chapter 12, second part, where Bhagavan Sri Krishna is describing the qualities of a bhakta, devotee. Last time we were studying sloka number 15. Sloka number 15, just briefly review before going further. In the first line, there are two instructions which are complementary. Yasman no dvijate loko, loka no dvijate chayaha. A devotee is one by whose actions, thoughts, words, and actions, other people are not disturbed. That means we should behave in such a way that our actions do not cause any disturbance, inconvenience to other people, including animals and plants. And I would say inanimate objects too. You should be kind and gentle towards inanimate objects. That is one part. My actions as a devotee. The second part is lokat naha yaha na udvijate. That person who is not disturbed by loka, what other people do. You cannot control anybody else's behavior, not at all possible. It's hard enough to control our own behavior. People will not behave according to our wish. They behave according to their whatever tendency, propensity, karma, however. We have to adjust. We have to remain unperturbed. This morning I was reading a story from the Bhagavatam. There is a story of a Brahmana who did not follow the rules of Brahmanya, did not live the life like a Brahmana should live, praying to God, studying scriptures. Instead, he was very greedy and very miserly. That Brahmana story. He tried to accumulate a great deal of wealth by doing agriculture, though it is not his profession. He had a lot of lands, he got a lot of money, and every way he can make money, he made money. He didn't spend anything, and he antagonized all his relatives and family because they didn't care for them. Only money, money, money all the time. Then what happened? All the money went away in different ways. Thieves took some money, relatives grabbed as much as they could from him. The land did not produce crops because of bad weather, lack of rainfall. All the money he had accumulated, and some of it went in taxes by the king. He became totally poor, but didn't have any money. Nobody paid any attention to him because he didn't pay attention to anybody when he had the money. Everybody discarded him. So he was alone and no place to stay, nothing to do. He reflects on his fate. I accumulated so much money, I did not help anybody, did not give any money to anybody. Now I lost everything, nobody is helping me. Like this, he started reflecting. Then it dawned upon him that the true way to find happiness is not through money. We should be kind and gentle towards all the people who come into our life in various relationships. If you have money, we should spend it to serve other people, poor people, animals and plants, and not accumulate for oneself, because we cannot take anything with us when we go. Money comes and money goes, everything has to be left behind. So this kind of thought came to him, and he left everything and went away as a mendicant, as a bhikshuka, subsisting on what people gave in bhiksha. So he traveled from place to place and started thinking about God all the time. Finally, wisdom dawned upon him after a long time. That during that time as a bhikshuka, people gave him a lot of trouble. Because at one time he disregarded everybody, didn't serve anybody. Now he was trying to pray to God. The people didn't like that one. They thought he's posing because he has no money, he's posing as a sadhu like that. He was begging food. But he was praying to God all the time. So every kind of trouble they gave him. They beat him up and embarrassed him and all kinds of problems they created. But he silently bore everything, did not react, did not speak. So in this way, what we do should not cause disturbance to others, and what others do, we should not become disturbed. That samatva should be the nature of our life. That man's story illustrates how we should treat others and how we should remain unaffected by how other people treat others. It's a longer story. That's just told a part of that one. So that is first line of 15. A devotee should not behave in such a way that causes disturbance to anybody, and what other people do, by that devotee should not be disturbed, remain calm, whatever other people. That's one part of the sloka. If we follow these two instructions, we'll have no problem with relationships. The second line makes it clearer. Amarsha means Amarsha means intolerance. If you are tolerant, when other people do something wrong, then we will not be bothered by it. We'll come to that. Second line is Sloka 15. Harsha marsha bhayo dvegaihi mukto yasacha me priyaha. A devotee who practices these virtues, Harsha marsha bhaya udvega, four things. We studied them last time. Just reviewing them quickly. Harsha means too much exaltation. Harsha means, Shankara says in the commentary, Harsha priyalabhe antahkaranasya utkarshaha romanchana ashrupata alinga adi. If something good happens, too much celebration on a very large scale, ostentatious celebration should not be done. Okay. That good that is happening now is not permanent. Tomorrow things will change. So we should not assume it's going to be permanent. Nothing is permanent. So celebrate in a modest way. You can celebrate and be happy, but in a modest way. Harsha, Amarsha means intolerance. Other people do things in a way that we don't like. They keep things in a place where I would not keep. They do things in a way that I don't like. You can't do much about those. You can tell them, but it's not going to work most of the time. So we have to remain tolerant. It's their nature. If it's possible, we can tell them. Sometimes we have to tell them what you are doing is wrong. Don't do this, but it may or may not work. We should be tolerant of others' behavior. Harsha, Amarsha. Bhaya means fear. We talked about fear last time. Devotee has no fear because he or she surrenders her whole life to God, as we saw in the opening prayer. Everything, including myself, is offered to you, surrendered to you. You take care of my life. And the Lord has promised earlier in the 9th chapter, Sloka 22, chapter 9, Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana paryupasate tesham nitya vijuktanam yogakshemam mahamyaham. Yogakshemam mahamyaham, very famous statement by the Lord. If you are devoted to God, God will provide what we need. Yoga means providing what we need, what we don't have. Food, clothing, basic place to stay, basic necessities. That He will provide. And Kshema means protection. Will protect us. Protect what we have, He will protect. But we have to be devoted to Him all the time. So that assurance is there from God. Therefore, no fear for a devotee. Jnani becomes free from fear by seeing no other. Jnani thinks, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm Brahman. There's no other than Brahman. Only one. Ekameva advitiyam, Upanishad says. Chandogya Upanishad says. Ekameva, one alone, not a second thing is there beside Brahman. One infinite Brahman, pure consciousness. So what is there to fear from whom? Fear comes from other beings. Somebody else or something else can cause me pain or loss. So I'm afraid. If there is nothing else, nobody else to cause me any fear and loss, then of whom I should be afraid, of what I should be afraid? No fear. That is Jnani's way. Either way, one should have no fear. Harsha, Marsha, Bhaya, Udvega. It came in the first line also, Udvijate, Udvega. Udvega means disturbance of the mind. By what other people do, what happens in our life, good health, bad health, poverty, praise and blame, loss and gain, all these things happen in everybody's life. Nobody's life is a smooth running life. Everybody will have some problem at some time or other, some more, some less. So one should learn to remain calm under all circumstances. Udvegai muktaha, free from udvega. Yaha sa me priyaha. Such a devotee is dear to me, the Lord says. Now we go to verse number 16. Verse number 13 to 19, these contain the list of qualities, virtues which we all have to practice if you want to have pure devotion. Verse number 16. Anapeksha shuchir dakshaha udasino gatav yathaha sarvarambha parityagi yo mad bhaktas same priyaha. Anapeksha means one who has no desire for something that one does not have. Desire means feeling of emptiness. I don't have this. If I have it, if I get it, I'll be happy. That feeling of some emptiness, some gap in my life, whether it's a child or a job or a money or house or property or anything, or a spouse, a person does not have. Then that person thinks, if I have that, if I get it, I'll be happy. My life will be happier, fuller. The desire for completion is what is bothering most people. Desire. The need to complete. Once I'm incomplete as I am right now, something is missing. And if that missing thing is given to me, I'll be happy, I'll become complete, I will become full. All desires, no matter for what, are concealed, veiled desire for completion, for regaining our perfect nature. By nature, inherently we are complete and perfect, Satchidananda. Even now, that is the fact. But you are not feeling that one. You are feeling emptiness, incompleteness, limitations. I don't have this, I don't have that. I don't have good health. I don't have some property, some good place to stay. I don't have a car. Whatever it is, child or whatever, I don't have. I'm incomplete. Because I'm not experiencing my full Purna nature, Purnatva nature. I'm Satchidananda. Upanishad says, Tattvamasi, you are that. I'm not, I don't know that. I'm not experiencing it. I'm only experiencing all kinds of limitations, shortness in my life, something lacking. That is desire. All desire is only desire to become complete, perfect, and full, concealed. So that should not be there for a bhakta or a jnani. For two reasons. One is, Upanishad says, I am already complete, perfect, Tattvamasi, I am Brahmasmi. Even now, this moment has changed. It was always there, it will always be there. I will never become incomplete or lacking in anything. By nature, I am full. The purpose of my life is to experience that fullness. Bhakta says, if I see God, if I know God, if I realize God, I'll be complete and perfect and full. The lack of me, apeksha, I mean desire for something which I don't have. For a devotee, it is what he does not have is he does not have the vision of God. That's called vyakulata. That kind of intense longing for God is vyakulata. Sri Ramakrishna talks about vyakulata in the gospel. That's desire, but it's a good kind of desire. I want to know God. I don't know God right now. I want to know God. That desire is good. So in the 7th chapter, I think it is verse number 11. There Sri Krishna says, Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. We are discussing desire, apeksha. Apeksha means desire. The desire that is not opposed to dharma. Dharma aviruddha. Virodha means opposition. Viruddha means opposite. Dharma aviruddha means desire not opposed to dharma. Some desires are adharmic desires. To obtain somebody else's money, to gain something at the expense of somebody, to enjoy something which is improper, immoral. That is adharmic desire. Dharmic desire means I want to be a better person. I want to be a better devotee. I want to help other people, seeing God in them, animals and plants. I want to realize God. These are all dharmic desires. They have to be cherished. So those are good. Anapeksha means not having any bad desires. Anapeksha, shuchihi. You are doing verse number 16, first line. Shuchi means, Shaucha means purity. We have talked about Shaucham on earlier occasions. Purity is both internal and external. Mind and thoughts must be pure, internal. External, our actions and possessions, body, everything must be pure. Environment, room, everything has to be pure. We have to observe purity very meticulously, both inward purity and outward purity. No compromise must be made. Everything around us must be clean and pure. Everything is properly placed in its place, assigned place. And all our thoughts must be pure, internal purity. External purity is somewhat easier. But keep the mind pure is a challenging task. That's where we have to try hard. No impure thought should be allowed to come to our minds. Speech must be pure. That we'll study in the 17th chapter, purity of speech. That will come. What we say must be true, helpful, relevant, beneficial. Only that kind of speech we should say. We should not say something that will cause embarrassment, pain to the listeners or to myself. The purity of speech, thought, speech, and actions. This purity is very important virtue for all spiritual seekers, for other people too. Purity is necessary. Anapeksha, Shuchiri, Daksha. Daksha means adept in doing our work. Even small work, small items of work, routine activity should be done properly, nice. There is a way to do things. Haphazardly, we should not do things. Even small activities. We should be very particular because every activity is service of the Lord. Why we should be so particular about doing everything right? Because everything that we do is service, worship of God. If you keep that in mind, how can we be not adept, not doing things properly? Haphazardly, carelessly, not paying attention, somehow get the things out of the way, should not be the attitude. Everything should great devotion and joy, because work is also a privilege, as you have seen before. Even if you have an opportunity to do something small, it's a gift from God. We don't think of work in that way as a gift from God. We think of work as something to be done. God, no. Gotten out of the way. No. Work is a privilege. Work is a gift. Because as long as we have opportunity to work and ability to work, we don't think about it as a gift. We take everything for granted we have. It's only when we lose something that we realize how precious it was. So even the ability to do something small, everybody cannot do many great things. Whatever work we have to do it nicely, properly, joyfully, gratefully, with great love. This is service of God. Even sweeping the floor, vacuuming the floor, cleaning utensils, keeping things in the kitchen, everywhere, workplace, doing every work properly is very important for a devotee. In the 18th chapter, sloka number 10, there Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, there is no unpleasant work. Even every work is to be thought of as worship, pleasant or unpleasant. Verse number 10 in chapter 18. Nadveshti akushalam karma kushalena anushajjate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna samshayaha. Akushalam karma means unpleasant work, like sweeping the floor, washing utensils, all those things. So routine chores we don't like to do generally, but they have to be done as if it is worship. It is worship of God. When you wash utensils in the kitchen, what are we doing? Worshipping God, because these are utensils which are used to serve the Lord, the people who eat in the kitchen. That is God's service. Everything has to be connected to God as service of God. Then in every work becomes worship. That's what he says in the 18th chapter, verse 46. By doing every work as worship, we achieve perfection, we achieve God realization. The essence of Karma Yoga. So Daksha means performing all actions efficiently, doing everything with joy, with gratitude, and with love. By doing that, we can realize God. You can see, you have heard the story of Rasika. Rasika was the janitor in Dakshineshwar, that garden house, Rasamuni's garden house, Dakshineshwar, where the Kali temple was, where Sri Ramakrishna stayed. There was a janitor, Rasika. His job was to sweep the floor and keep the place clean. Nothing glamorous about being a janitor, especially in India, very unpleasant work. But he was doing it every day. And the Rasika did not have access to the temple. He could not go inside because of his profession as a janitor. But he used to see many devotees come to Sri Ramakrishna. There would be singing, dancing in his room, and devotional discourses, everything was happening. But he could not go there. But he saw Sri Ramakrishna going out towards Panchavati and going back to his room. So he was feeling very sad. I have no opportunity to go and listen to this great man. So many people are going to him, obtaining benefit of his wisdom and devotion. But by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, he also achieved the goal, highest goal. What happened? One day he was a drunk. These poor people have now, when they get some money, they drink. That's the only thing. He is drunk and lying down in the garden place in Dakshineshwar. Sri Ramakrishna saw him. He was passing that way. Sri Ramakrishna noted, why have you taken so much drink? Sri Ramakrishna asked Rasika. Rasika says, sir, I don't have money to drink, but 2-3 days ago somebody died. Somebody's mother died. They asked me to clean, and they gave me some money. With that money, I have taken some drinks. Whose mother dies every day? He asked like this. Every day everyone gets money. Sri Ramakrishna said, don't drink that much. He didn't ask him to stop drinking completely. He said, don't drink that much like that. That was one incident. Then after some time, Rasika was feeling very bad how to get the grace of this great man. So he was doing his work. Sri Ramakrishna was passing that way. He was alone. Nobody else was there. So he seized the opportunity, Rasika. He fell at his feet, Sri Ramakrishna's feet, and prayed to him, oh, Father, what will happen to me? Baba, Amaki Hove, what will happen to me? I have no future. I'm just doing this janitorial work. Bless me. And he was crying with devotion. Sri Ramakrishna blessed him, said, don't worry, I will take care of you. You do one thing. When you go home, repeat God's name and get some tulsi plants, put them in front of your house, sit down near the tulsi plants in front of your house, repeat God's name, and I will take care of you. I will take care of you. When you die, I will come and lead you further on. Don't worry. You blessed him. And that's what happened. In the meantime, after some time, Sri Ramakrishna passed away. Rasika retired from his job and went to his town village, and in his cottage, he had some tulsi plants in front of his cottage and started praying there to God as instructed by Sri Ramakrishna. On the last day of his life, Rasika's life, in the meantime, Sri Ramakrishna had passed away. On the last day of Rasika's life, he was lying inside the house, sick, about to die. Then he told his wife and children, please put my bed outside in front of the cottage where tulsi plants are. He will come today to take me onward. So they did not understand who is going to come and take where. What they thought was delirious saying something. No, he insisted. No. Then he took his bed and he went and laid down on the bed in front of his home near the tulsi plants. And suddenly he cried, "Oh, bring some asana seat. Yes, come, yes, come." They didn't see anybody. Who has come? This man is about to die. He is going talking something irrelevant. They didn't understand. They didn't see anybody. Sri Ramakrishna went there. So he took Rasika, and that's how he died. Sri Ramakrishna led him on to his final destination. In his life, Rasika, what did he do? He had no, he was not literate, he did not study any scriptures, Upanishad, Gita, or anything. He did not do any kind of worship or anything because of his profession, lack of education. But he did follow Sri Ramakrishna's instruction to repeat God's name every day with full devotion. That was enough. So every work, even janitorial work, has to be done efficiently, nicely, joyfully, and with great love and devotion. That alone will take us to ultimate goal. Everything is worship of God. 1846 Gita. We'll study that later. Shuchir Dakshaha, efficiency in action. Efficiency also means another aspect. Remaining unperturbed in success and failure. Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. That comes in second chapter, verse 48. Last part. Second chapter, verse 48 talks about what is samatvam, what is efficiency in action. Efficiency, not only physical efficiency, doing everything nicely without wasting material and time. Efficiency also means remaining calm regardless of success or failure. Second chapter, verse 48 to 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhanam jaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. That is also efficiency. Two aspects. Daksha. Then next quality is udasinaha. That came in chapter 6, verse 9. Udasana means not indifferent. You have to be caring, careful, concerned about things, not indifferent in that way. Udasana means remaining neutral, not taking sides. In chapter 6, verse 9, Udasina comes. Sugran mitra udasina madhyastadveshya bandhushu sadhushapicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. Samabuddhi means remaining equanimous under all circumstances, not favoring somebody, not looking upon somebody down, not praising somebody, not blaming somebody. Neutral, common. Everybody is equal. Everybody is child of God. In everyone, God is present, treating everybody alike. So it comes again. Here again, udasinaha. Last one on the first line is gata vyatha. Gata vyatha. Vyatha means worry. Worry about the future, anxiety. And worry about the past also. This happened, that happened. Both should be given up. For a devotee, there should be no worry at all. Everything happens by the will of God. Everything happens for the good. My life is surrendered. I've surrendered everything in my life to Him. All my actions, all my possessions, my whole life is at His feet, offered at His feet. He is leading my life. This is what Sri Ramakrishna called giving power of attorney. So no worry, no anxiety. Gata vyatha. The next line. Sarvarambha parityagi yo mad bhakta same priyaha. Sarvarambha parityagi means iha mutra phalabhoga arthani kama hetuni karmani sarvarambha. What is sarvara? Sarva means all. Arambha means something that we begin, some action. Arambha means to begin something. To begin some action. with the intention of finding happiness here and hereafter. So in the commentary, Shankara says, Iha means here in this life, when I'm living. Amutra means after I die, if I go to heaven, then there also I want to be happy. I want to be happy here, I want to be happy later after I die. Amutra palabhoga arthani. Palabhoga means enjoyment of fruits of action. Doing some action with the intention of enjoying the fruit of action is called aramba. Sarvaramba parityagi. One who gives up that desire for enjoying the fruit of action. Doing some action solely with the purpose of enjoying the fruit of the action. Benefit for oneself. Doing action to serve other people is okay. That is good. No selfish motive should be there. To help others, to bring relief to other people, animals, and plants, that action is good. It purifies our mind, makes us free from selfishness. Because the more unselfish we become, the closer we get to God. In the limiting case, when we become totally 100% unselfish, what happens? We become one with God. This is what Swamiji says. In the Karma Yoga lecture, there is one sentence with only 3 words in it. I think of it as a Mahavakya for this age. There are Mahavakyas in the Upanishad like that one. Swamiji said, unselfishness is God. Unselfishness is God. Only 3 words that capture the essence of all Karma Yoga. All karma has to be done to become unselfish, not for me, for others, for God. If the more unselfish we become, the closer we get to God. So all actions must be done, not expecting fruit for oneself. That is aramba. Giving up expectation of happiness from one's own actions for one's own self, that should not be done. Serving other people should be the motive. In that we get the highest benefit, unselfishness. That takes us to God. Sarvaramba parityagi yomad bhaktas same priyaha. That is sloka number 16. Sarvaramba parityagi. That we should not give up required duties. That does not mean we should give up all our work. No, we should perform our required duty. Whatever duty we are required to do, niyata karma, that we have to do. But not with the intention of finding happiness therefrom. The purpose of doing work is not to find happiness for oneself, it will serve others and as worship of God. Motive should be examined. Motive for work should be pure. Not to gain happiness or some benefit for myself, but as a service to the Lord and helping other beings and to become unselfish. That should be the motive for work. That is Sarvaramba Parityagi. Not giving up actions required to be done. Still you have to go to work every day and do the required duties at home and workplace, every place. That's not what it means. Sarvaramba Parityagi means giving up all actions with the expectation of getting benefit from that action. Enjoying the fruit of action. That should not be there. Yomad bhaktas same priyaha. Now we go to verse number 70. Yo na hrishyati na dveshti, na shochati na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktiman yassame priyaha. This has come before also. Yaha na hrishyati. Harsha means, as you said, harsha means being glad, happiness, and too much exaltation should not be there. Yona hrishyati. We should moderate all our feelings. When something bad happens, should not become too much upset, angry, depressed, and bitter. Should be moderated. It's natural for human beings to become unhappy and a little bit upset when things go wrong, but within limits. Should not allow that to overpower us, the feeling of sadness. Similarly, Hrishyati, na hrishyati. When something good happens, it is natural to be happy and enjoy, that is good, but within moderate limits. Not too much celebration, not too much exaltation. You see, when people celebrate some events in their life, like graduations or 16th birthday or prom or some wedding or something, too much celebration, meaninglessly large kind of celebration, spending thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. Not necessary. Moderate enjoyment is okay, it's good. Not only that, when people watch some sports event like a NFL finals game, then if somebody does a touchdown, their favorite team gets a touchdown. There's so much celebration. They are watching hundreds of miles away in their home. Game is going on somewhere else. They are only watching. So everybody stands up and like such a big show of exaltation. Like that, people enjoy wants to enjoy it too much. Hrishyati, keeping everything in moderation. Harsha and dvesha, not dveshti. Dvesha means dislike, intense dislike, hatred should not be there. We don't have to like everything in the same way. There are things which we don't like very much. It's okay. Keep our feelings moderate. Should not turn into hatred. So some things we don't like. It's okay. Within moderate means, but should not allow ourselves to hate anything or anybody. Na dveshti, na shochati. Shoka means grief. In the second chapter, Sri Krishna said, a wise person, devotee should not grieve for anything. There, too much expression of grief is not necessary, it's not good. So everybody becomes sad when something bad happens. That's okay. Human emotions we have to express. We should not keep them bottled down. We can express our emotions, but within moderate limits. Yona krishyati na dveshti na shochati na kangshati. Kangsha means desire. Nacha apraptam kangshati. Something apraptam, not we don't have. I want something. It has come before. Kangsha means desire. If I get it, I'll be happy. That feeling of incompleteness is desire, kangsha. Na kangshati, no. If something comes, I keep it, enjoy it. I know it's not going to be permanent. Nothing is permanent. Anything that comes has to go also. Not intrinsic. Anything that is not there now, it will come, will also leave me. It will go. So I should be ready for that one. Not too much celebration when something good happens, some good thing comes or happens. Because it's not permanent. Anytime it can leave us, or we have to leave it. Ready for that one. Nasochate ne kangshati. Shubha shubha parityagi. Giving up both good and evil. For a devotee, nothing good, nothing bad. Everything happens by the will of God. Here Shankara says, Shubha shubhe karmani, good actions and bad actions, parityaktam, shilam asya iti shubha shubha parityagi. Habitually, he gives up both good and evil acts, abandons the egotistic sense of doing good and evil. That is the not giving up actions. You cannot give up actions, but giving up kartrutvam, that I am the doer, should be given up. Kartrutva should be given up. One who gives up kartrutva, that I am the doer, should be given up. Action should not be given up. How can it be done? How can I do things and say I'm not the doer? No, it can be done in many ways. We have seen that before. A devotee does it, performs all required actions, then offers everything to God. I'm the doer, all right, but I'm doing everything as an offering to God. That we see in many places before. Chapter 330, 927, other places too it will come. Whatever you do, offer it to me, Bhagavan says. Chapter 3, verse number 30, Bhagavan said, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. 5 instructions he gives there. This first instruction, dedicating all actions to me. Whatever we do, only good bad actions we should not don't try to dedicate it to God. It won't work. Good actions, required action. Dedicating everything to God. I am doer is still there. Let it be there as a servant. Bhritya eva. As a servant, I am a doer. That attitude is good for devotees. Jnanis are not the doer. That's the highest difficult for majority of people. To do something and say I'm not the doer, not possible for ordinary people. Those who think they are not the body mind, they are the Atman, they can do that one. They can do anything and say I'm not the doer because they are not the doer. Who is the doer then? All actions happen between two things. Mind, sense organs one side, sense object on the other side. Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante. How does any action happen? It's explained in the 2 verses in chapter 5, 8 and 9. Their jnani's attitude towards work. I'm not the doer. Plain. I'm not the doer, he said. He asserts. Naiva kanchit karomi, he says. But he's doing all the actions. Eating, walking, drinking, sleeping, doing things. But if you ask the jnani, you're doing all this, how can you say you're not the doer of action? He says, who is the doer of action? The body, mind, sense organs, sense object, their action happens. Mind tells the hand to pick up something, glass of water. Hand picks up the glass of water, takes it to the mouth, and mouth sips the water. And the water goes through the digestive system in the body. And where is the eye? Am I the mind? Am I the hand? Am I the water? There's no eye. Water is drunk. Who drinks the water? Body, mind. I'm none of those. I'm the Atman. So Jnani can say, I'm not the doer while doing all actions. He says in the Shankaracharya says, in the famous Nirvana Shatkam, Mano buddhyahankara chitta ninaham nacha shrotra jishve nacha grana netre. I'm none of the sense organs. Shrotra means ears. I'm not the ear. I'm not the eyes. I'm not the hand. I'm not the feet. Navak panipadam. I'm not the mind. Mano buddhi. I'm not the intellect. Who am I? I'm the Atman. Atman cannot perform. With pure consciousness, no action is possible there. All actions happen at the body, mind, sense organ, sense object level, none of which I am. So Jnani says, I'm not the doer. So that is Subhasha Bhavrityagi. Good action, bad action, nothing is not the doer. But a Bhakta has to keep the eye. When Bhakta says, I'm not the Bhakta can say, I'm the devotee of God, I'm a child of God, I'm a servant of God. That Bhakta takes that attitude. So every work I do is an offering worship of the Lord. I'm the doer, all right, but I'm only a servant. As a servant, I'm the doing action. At a higher level, a Bhakta can say, God is the doer, I'm only the instrument. That also requires purity of mind. Where does he say that one? In the 11th chapter, verse number 33. Tasmat tamuttishta yasho labasva jitvan chantrun bhakshwarajyam samruddham mayayvete nigata purvameva nimitta matram bhavasavyasachin. Arjuna, Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, just be the instrument in my hands. I've already taken care of all the Kauravas and everybody. Don't worry, don't think you are the killer. Nothing to do. Just be the instrument. I have done all these things. I'm the doer. That is another attitude. It requires purity of mind. We can't do that very nicely because we have the feeling that I am the doer. As long as the feeling I am the doer is there, then we should say I'm the doer, but I am only doing as a servant. Pratya 330. I'm doing as an offering to God. Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. 9:27 also, chapter 9, verse 27. There Sri Krishna says, whatever you do, offer it to me. Yat koroshi yadashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurusham adarpanam. Whatever you do, offering to me. Arpanam means offering. That is devotee's attitude. That way we become free from attachment to work and work, karma and karma phala. So there are different ways to achieve that. Shubhashva Parityagi means either way, whatever way is possible for us as a devotee, doing all work as an offering, as worship, dedicating everything to God, or as an instrument, thinking God is the doer, or as a jnani, I'm not the embodiment, I'm the Atman, I'm not doing anything. Either way, we should become free from kartritvam, notion of doership. That is what is meant by Shubhashva Parityagi. Bhaktiman, one who has devotion to God. Jasame Priyaha, such a devotee who has all these qualities. Na hrishati, na dveshti, na shochati, na kamshati. Shubhashva Parityagi, all these qualities a devotee should have. And people who are aspiring for devotion like us, but seeking pure devotion to God. People like us should follow these instructions. These are instructions for us to carry out, to practice. And these are natural qualities of a devotee who has devotion. That's why this list is given here. Now we have 3 more verses. I will read verse number 18, and I will stop after that for questions. Verse 18. Samasyatrau samitre cha tatha manapamanayo shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samassanga vivarjitaha. More description and more qualities of a devotee. Shatrau cha mitre cha samaha. For a devotee, there is no Shatru, there is no Mitra. Shatru means enemy, Mitra means friend. Everybody is friend. That we saw in chapter 5, Samadar Shitva, chapter 6 also. Chapter 5, Shloka 18, Sri Krishna says, treat everybody alike. Whether he is a Vidyavanesa, Brahmana, person of highest qualities, ideal human being, endowed with knowledge and humility, or a lowest human being who subsists on eating something, animals in between, treat everybody alike. Samadar Shitva. Samadar Shine Namatiharo. So where did it come? Chapter 5, verse 18. Samadar Shitva, very important verse. There Bhagavan had said, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shapake Cha Panditas Samadarshinaha. Samadarshina. We should all practice Samadarshitva. Treating everybody alike. Not in a bad way. Treating everybody bad, not that way. Showing respect to everybody, loving everybody, seeing God in everyone. Vidyavani Sampane Brahmane, with a seeker of Brahman, the knower of Brahman, who is endowed with knowledge and humility. Vidya Vinaya. Vinaya means humility. That one person. Then Gavi, go means cow. Hastini, Hasti means elephant. Shuni means dog. Different examples in the whole spectrum of creation from the best to the worst. Shapaka means the worst human being with no education, no culture, born under very unhappy, unfortunate circumstances, and somehow subsisting. That person also same divinity resides. It's only split. So treating everybody alike with love and gentleness and compassion and friendliness. Subject to precautions. You should not try to be friendly with very wicked people. That will not be good for you. To stay away from wicked people. Narada says in the Bhakti Sutra, stay away from wicked people. Dussanga sarvataiva tyajjaha. Dussanga means company of bad people. Sarvataiva tyajjaha. By all means, we should give up company of bad people. We can't be trying try to be friendly with them. It's not good for us. But from a distance, we should show compassion for them, pray for them from a distance, like treating when you go to a zoo, when you see a lion or a tiger or some such animal, we should not get too close. You should be in the other side of the cage. I'm on the outside of the cage. From here, I bow down to you. From a distance, I bow down to you. I see God in you, but you don't know right now. Not getting too close. That will not be good for us. Elephant Narayana, mad elephant, you can't get too close to it. That following that rules. Samadarshitva. So samashatrocha mitrecha. Equanimous towards enemies who don't do good to us. Mitra means who are very close to us. The word Mitra came in chapter 6, verse 9. Suran Mitra Yudasena Madhyastha Desha Bandhushu. Mitra means those friends who do good to us without expecting anything from us in return. Some people do good to us expecting something in return. But Mitra is a person who does something good to us without expecting anything in return for his or her good deed. Such a person is a Mitra, true friend. Mitra, Shatrocha Mitrecha tha Mana Apamana Yoho. Mana means respect. Some people respect us. Apamana means disrespect. Some people embarrass us, insult us. All kinds of people. Being equanimous towards them. So these qualities will come again, have come before, again come in the 14th chapter. Shitoshna Sukhadukheshu Samasanga Vivarjita. Those qualities of a devotee we have to, virtues we have to practice to achieve pure devotion to God. So let us stop here with verse number 18. And 2 more verses are there. We will study them next time and start next chapter number 13, Kshetra Kshetrajna. So let us say the closing prayer. Then if you have any questions, you can bring them up now. We have a few minutes.
I have a question, Swamiji. This chapter, the title is Bhakti Yoga. This is Pradeep Saha from Raleigh. Okay,
Bhakti Yoga, yes.
Chapter's name is Bhakti Yoga. But however, at least what I understood from your explanation, there is not much difference between Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Because Karma Yoga also, we should do the karma and submit that to God. And Bhakti is also devotion. So not much difference I'm seeing between Karma Yoga and the Bhakti Yoga.
You can't separate them.
Right.
Karma Bhakti.
Nano Yoga may be a little bit different.
Yeah, so, Karma Bhakti are very closely related. Very close. You cannot do one without the other.
Yeah, that's what I felt. So that feeling is correct?
Yes, good observation.
Okay, thank you.
You cannot practice Bhakti without Karma, right. Nor can you do Karma Yoga without Bhakti. They are closely related.
Closely related. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good. Anything else? Indranil, how are you?
I'm fine, Maharaj. Pranam.
Very good. All right. So let us say the closing prayer. Everybody is playing cricket outside. Today is Saturday. After Karma Yoga, even before lunch also, they had a short one round of cricket. Weather was nice.
I like to go there for cricket.
Karma Yoga day today. Okay. Closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavanta Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy. May all be free from diseases and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble and auspicious. May no one be subject to any kind of misery. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony among all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti, and may there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti, Hari Om Tat Sat, Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well.